Arma 3 is a video game. That was the extent of my knowledge about Arma 3 before making this video, and after playing it for a good 2 hours with my friend and co-editor Vietnam, I think I understand it a bit better. In short, it's less of a video game and more of a military simulation, with everything from weapon handling, player movement, and the such serving to better immerse the player in the operations they're doing. It's almost like what Dungeons & Dragons is for fans of the fantasy genre, but for military enthusiasts. And you play it on a computer. What makes Arma 3 especially cool, though, is that its mod support is incredible. The devs created these immersive and in-depth simulation gameplay mechanics, and then gave the community the keys to do whatever they wanted with it. And people did just that. Operation Trebuchet is a Halo conversion mod for Arma 3, with the goal being to bring the cartoonish and wacky world of Halo into the real world of military operations. No energy shields to save you here. No wacky grenade bouncing to get up to high ledges. This was the real thing. After a quick and easy setup, the mod was installed and Vietnam escorted me to our little server. As I got used to the controls and pretty complex stance system that had like 4 or 5 different height levels for my character, Nam set up the basis for the mission we would be embarking on as my first Arma experience. The Covenant and a band of insurrectionist human rebels had teamed up and were trying to take control of multiple Forerunner beam emitters across the surface of the ring. It was up to us, the good men and women of the UNSC, to put a stop to them. I took my time gathering my gear and kitting out my loadout. Let me tell you, it's weird to pick up famous Halo weapons and have them function more or less like real firearms, as opposed to the arcadey nature of traditional Halo, where fully automatic weapons are used for close range, with precision weapons being used for long range. It was kinda interesting. Hey!
Yeah.
Look, I got it! I'm holding a Halo! Look, it's me! I'm a Halo now! This is so cool.
Take every version of the battle rifle, every version of the DMR. And one really important thing is I loaded us in as Halo 3 Marines because we have taste.
This is true.
It does add everything from every Halo game.
Once I was kitted up, the Warthogs arrived along with a squad of fellow Marines, and we were briefed on the situation. We'd be rolling out ASAP, and I was ordered on the gun of the Warthog. It's really strange standing next to Halo vehicles and realizing how truly large they are when you're just the size of an ordinary human. In Halo, you play as a Spartan, so things like the Warthog seem normal height, but Spartans are like 8 feet tall, and being a human Marine, the Warthog was gigantic. As we drove across the fields of Halo, Nam told me to be on the lookout for snipers, and I made sure to survey the horizon while familiarizing myself with the handling of the massive chain gun. In the hands of the Master Chief, these spinning barrels of death made you feel like the Terminator, but in the hands of a lowly Marine such as myself, the turret gun felt like a beast that I needed to coax into working with me. It was heavy, and it felt powerful. We arrived at the first installation and advanced towards it. Nam warned me not to treat this like Battlefield or Call of Duty and to check my corners. When the bullets come, they're gonna hurt. And yeah, I got it. I rolled my eyes. Look, I've played realistic games like Battlefield. I got this. And I did not actually got this. Suddenly, the silence was broken by the scattered pops of gunfire. I had no clue where they were coming from. There were no indicators, no warning flashes on my screen, just the sound of bullets impacting my character's body, and no idea where they were coming from. My vision got all blurry and I had to crawl myself to cover as the sounds of gunfire and yelling filled the air. I recovered and grouped up on Nam. It was insurrectionists that were hiding in the grass in the corners of the Forerunner structures. Realizing just how serious the gameplay was, I began moving with him. We were checking our corners. We made our way through the maze of structures. When we had finally gotten the all clear, we loaded back into our Warthogs and set off to the next site. My character's vision was a little bit blurred and I checked his stats. Thankfully, he seemed to be only hurt and not seriously wounded. His battle armor actually took most of the shots. This was good, But next time, I probably won't be so lucky, so I needed to be careful. We finally arrived at the next beam tower and parked our warthogs a good way away from it so that we could sneak up on the enemy and get the jump on them. As we jogged across the wide open field, I prepared myself. During the last skirmish, it took quite a few shots to bring down the insurrectionists due to their body armor. I needed headshots. The assault rifle kicked quite a bit, but if they're laying down, it makes their heads more exposed, so theoretically I should be able to— Oh god, it's the Covenant! Sure enough, I made out the blue shine of an elite miner's armor laying in the grass. Thankfully, he wasn't facing me, so I opened fire into his exposed anus, and his shields flared up and purple blood sprayed everywhere. I got the jump on his insurrectionist friend, and the skirmish truly started. One of them even tried rushing me and took me by surprise, but thankfully I was able to put him down. Oh, no, 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 no! That scared me! We eventually made our way through the site and cleared it of all hostiles, but Nam had worrying news. The Covenant were not happy about this, and a squad of elites were on their way to take back the beam tower. We had about 5 minutes before they would arrive. We began setting up and getting into defensive positions. It was anxiety-inducing. Combat in Arma 3 was not like Halo, or any shooter I've ever played for that matter. It was dangerous, lightning quick, and the flow of combat could far too easily go towards the other side if you're not paying attention. You almost welcomed the moments when there wasn't any combat happening, because the peace and quiet was more predictable. You had control over peace and quiet. I saw movement. Lots of movement. Taking down one elite costed me about maybe 17 bullets, and I didn't have too many magazines left, and there were a lot of Covenant coming our way. Some of the elites even had beam rifles and were taking up prone positions in the grass. They were gonna pin us down in this structure. Sure enough, a high-pitched whine rang out through the air, and Nam was killed. He was nailed by one of those beam rifle snipers. He needed to respawn, which meant it was up to me to hold off the Covenant until he arrived with reinforcements. I poked my head above the cover and made out several elites that were charging the structure I was in. By this time, I had picked up a battle rifle, and I didn't know if I was equipped to handle close quarters combat. I was in danger. I made sure to get myself into the best position possible while telling Nam to please hurry up, they're getting close! One brave elite even began advancing into the structure and charging at me, and I was able to put him down. But this battle rifle just wasn't cutting it for me. I was pinned. I needed something to clear out those snipers so I could have a bit of breathing room. I grabbed this elite's fallen carbine and poked my head up to see where they were. There was just too many of them. They were all over the place. This wasn't gonna end well. And it didn't end well. I was killed. I respawned outside of the structure, and thankfully, Nam had finally arrived with the reinforcement he promised. It was undeniably a UNSC Scorpion. He acted as the pilot while I manned the gun, and we began chasing the elites like the rabbits they were. Arma 3's enemy AI seemed completely dumbfounded by this massive tank that was chasing them, so they began kind of moving around in circles in the grass like a pack of sheep as we chased them. We yelled insults and followed them very slowly. We were the kings, and we wanted the elites to know it. We probably should have paid attention a little bit better because our Scorpion eventually got caught on a rock, and we were immobilized. This gave the Covenant enough time to run up to the Scorpion and plant charges on it. It was time to bail. I sprinted to cover as plasma fire and beam rifle shots landed all around me. The loud, violent explosion of the Scorpion shook my screen, and I couldn't hear for a little bit. Nam told me to regroup near him, so I rallied up on him and even stumbled upon a beam rifle for myself. No more messing around. Like the highly trained operators we were, we found some advantaged positions and scanned for the rest of the elites, who all seemed to be cowering at a nearby rock, probably scared by the Scorpion explosion. We picked them off, secured the beam tower, and we were, finally, victorious. I had the thirst for blood. It was exhilarating. The adrenaline was pumping. That was the coolest thing I think I've ever done in a Halo setting. Before I finally logged off, there was one thing I needed to do. You see, before we set out on this journey across the surface of the ring, I made sure to sling a rocket launcher on my back. I never actually got to use it during our skirmishes, and Nam's Spartan armor started to look like a mighty fine target. Green was becoming red, and I gave in to my darker desires and blew his Spartan ass to kingdom come. As retaliation for this fleeting moment of battlefield insanity, he dropped a nuclear warhead on me, which is an appropriate response considering the circumstances, if you ask me. Operation Trebuchet was something special. The vehicles were larger, the guns heavier, and the battles more intense and weighty than anything I had experienced in the Halo games. It was a different side to the Halo universe, and it's something I'd like to run again. Operation Trebuchet lets you play as Marines, ODSTs, and of course Spartans. Something I want to eventually do is get to the point where I can reliably play in a squad with real people. It made me wonder what battles must be like for the little Marines of the Halo campaigns, where a single grunt could honestly be a life or death situation. It makes me respect the boys and girls in green, and those who protect Earth and all her colonies. Next time I play though, the stakes need to be higher. I'm ready for something big. If you're a fan of Arma 3 or Operation Trebuchet, reach out to me. Nam and I would be eager to play with folks who actually know what they're doing. And with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next video.